Have you ever wondered why someone suddenly stopped talking to you? Why the messages stopped? Why the silence became louder than words? Archangel Michael says, this is not rejection. It is divine redirection. Type 1111 in the comments if you feel this message pulling at your spirit right now. Because heaven is speaking directly to your heart. God is saying, this person is not allowed to text you or talk to you right now. And it's not punishment, it's protection. There are conversations God blocked to protect your peace. There are replies that never came because heaven intercepted them. There are people whose access to you was revoked by divine order. And though your heart may not understand it yet, your spirit already knows this silence is sacred. They didn't choose to walk away. Heaven chose for them to step back. Because what was once a distraction cannot walk into your destiny. Archangel Michael says, heaven is cutting off counterfeit connections. The enemy was trying to reattach you to what you've already healed from. That's why your messages went unanswered. That's why the call never came. That's why you felt their energy fade. Not because you did something wrong, but because your light was growing stronger. God separated you to protect your anointing. Because there are people who cannot carry the next version of you. They were attached to the old you, the one who doubted, begged, or settled. But heaven is birthing the you that stands firm in faith and refuses to chase what's not divine. Beloved, listen carefully. When you ask God to remove what's not meant for you, He answered. But the answer didn't come through thunder or lightning. It came through silence. That silence you hated is actually the sound of heaven working. The angelic realm moved things you couldn't see. They rearranged circumstances to align you with your true assignment. They closed one door because another one was waiting with your name written on it. Type, I trust God's silence in the comments if you receive this confirmation. Archangel Michael says, stop mourning what heaven already replaced. Stop waiting for the same conversation that kept you stuck in cycles. That person is not allowed to text you or talk to you, because if they could, they would pull you back into the place God already delivered you from. The separation was necessary for your restoration. Your silence became your protection. Your distance became your deliverance. The next time you feel tempted to reach out again, remember this truth. Heaven never withholds what is truly meant for you. If it's divine, it will always return healed, transformed, and aligned. What's coming next will confirm what your heart already knew, because soon you'll realize that what left wasn't your loss. It was God's way of clearing your path for miracles. Archangel Michael says, you are being repositioned for a divine encounter. There is someone new being prepared by heaven. Someone who can handle your calling, understand your spirit, and walk beside you without dimming your light. The one you cried over could not carry what you are about to become. They would have misunderstood your purpose, mocked your growth, and delayed your miracle. So God said, no more access. This isn't the end of love. It's the beginning of divine order. You were not forgotten. You were preserved. The word of God says in Isaiah 55:8, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. That means even when you don't understand the silence, heaven does. Every unanswered text, every ghosted call, every closed door was heaven's no to your pain and yes to your purpose. Archangel Michael whispers, stop chasing what God canceled. Stop trying to reopen doors that heaven locked for your safety. Because behind that silence, there was danger you couldn't see. That person's spirit was not aligned with yours anymore. They carried confusion. They carried jealousy. They carried hidden intentions that would have drained your peace. So heaven put distance between you and them, not to hurt you, but to heal you. The moment you release them fully, you'll feel the weight lift. The moment you stop checking your phone waiting for their name, You'll feel heaven's comfort filling that space. Beloved soul, you don't need closure from man when God already gave confirmation. Heaven says, this silence is not rejection, it's preparation. Because while they stopped communicating with you, God never stopped speaking to you. He's still guiding you through dreams, numbers, and sudden peace in your heart. If you keep seeing 1111, 333, or 77777, these are not random numbers. They are divine codes confirming your realignment. Type your angel number in the comments to seal this confirmation right now. Archangel Michael says, someone's silence is heaven's loudest protection over your life. They were about to say something that would have bound your spirit again. They were about to pull you into confusion. So heaven cut the signal before it reached your heart. You might not know it yet. But that text you never received was a blessing you didn't see, because if that message had reached you, your emotions would have responded instead of your faith. And heaven needed your focus, not your fear. The silence created space for clarity. The distance created room for divine alignment. And now, something greater is forming. A miracle that doesn't need confusion to exist. God is saying, be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Stillness is not inactivity, it's divine trust. When you stop forcing outcomes, heaven starts unfolding miracles. So rest, beloved. You didn't lose connection. You gained divine protection. Archangel Michael says, the person who once ignored you will soon witness what heaven did in your life during the silence. They will see your peace, your glow, your elevation, and realize that losing access to you was their divine wake-up call. They will remember your kindness. They will recall your prayers, and they will understand that what they took for granted was God's gift to them. But by then, you'll no longer crave what you outgrew. You'll be walking in divine confidence, wrapped in angelic peace. What once broke you will now bless you. What once confused you will now confirm you. The silence was not empty, it was sacred. Heaven filled it with healing, strength, and new assignments for your soul. So stop asking why they're quiet. Start thanking God for protecting your peace. Because when heaven removes someone, it's never subtraction, it's multiplication in disguise. Archangel Michael says, you're entering a season where only divine connections will reach you. No manipulation, no confusion, no emotional games. Only people who match your healed heart and purpose will find their way to you, and those who were blocked will remain behind the veil of silence until they align with heaven's order. Heaven is serious about your destiny. The delay, the silence, the distance, it was all training for discernment. You asked God for a love that's pure, peaceful, and purposeful. So he removed what was temporary to prepare you for what is eternal. Beloved, hear this clearly. You are not being punished. You are being promoted. This silence is proof that heaven trusts you with more. Because now you can discern what's divine and what's disguised. The next connection will not drain you. It will pour into you. It will feel peaceful, not anxious. It will remind you of heaven, not of heartbreak. Archangel Michael says, the reason they're not allowed to talk to you right now is because heaven is still healing their heart and protecting yours. Until they learn to love with purity, they cannot re-enter your story. Until they learn to honor divine timing, they cannot access divine connections. Because God is not letting anyone disturb your restoration season. Soon, you'll look back and say, if they hadn't gone silent, I wouldn't have found my purpose. If they hadn't left, I wouldn't have found my peace. So thank God for unanswered messages. Thank heaven for closed doors. Thank the angels for standing guard over your heart. Archangel Michael says, every no reply you received was a shield. Every pause was protection. Every separation was sacred. God is saying, you didn't lose communication, you gained confirmation. Confirmation that what's divine never disappears. It simply returns renewed, restored, and realigned with your destiny. So breathe, beloved. Stop refreshing the chat that heaven closed. Start rejoicing for the miracle heaven opened. What's ahead will make sense of every silence. What's coming next will heal every unanswered question. Soon, the person meant for you will speak not through text, but through truth. Not in confusion, but in clarity. Not for attention, but for alignment. And when that moment comes, you'll know it's divine, because peace will fill your heart instantly. Until then, stay still in faith. Keep your focus on God, keep your energy pure, and keep your heart open to the miracle heaven is forming right now. Type, I receive this divine protection in the comments if your spirit feels this truth, because the angels are watching. Your response, your faith activates the blessing waiting on the other side of your obedience. Archangel Michael says there's a divine turnaround happening behind the silence. Expect restoration. Expect healing. Expect miracles. Heaven is moving. Even in the quiet, even in the delay, God is aligning everything for your good. The silence is not the end. It's the divine pause before the breakthrough. And when heaven speaks again, you'll see why this silence was worth it. Archangel Michael says, there is something powerful happening in the spirit realm right now. Someone's silence is no longer a wound. It's a weapon heaven is using to set you free. You are being separated not to suffer, but to see. Type, I'm ready to see clearly if your heart knows this message is for you. Because God is revealing what was once hidden. You thought this was a painful ending, but heaven says it's the beginning of divine clarity. Their silence is revealing their true heart. Their distance is exposing their true alignment. It's not that they don't care, it's that they're not spiritually ready to handle your divine assignment. You carry a calling that demands peace. You carry a light that can't survive in confusion. So heaven had to silence the voices that would make you doubt yourself again. Archangel Michael says, stop replaying what they didn't say. Focus on what God already said, because His word never returns void, and His silence always hides a purpose. Type, God's purpose is greater than my pain, if you feel that truth resonating. Beloved, the angels are guarding your communication lines. Every word, every message, every call, heaven filters it now. Only what is pure, kind, and aligned can reach you, because you are in a season of spiritual detox. God is cleansing your circle, your inbox, and your heart. That's why old connections feel distant. That's why old patterns no longer satisfy. You've outgrown what you used to tolerate. Heaven says, I am teaching you to listen beyond words. You are learning to discern energy, intention, and spirit. You can now feel when someone's words are sweet, but their spirit is sour. This is divine sensitivity. It's your angelic radar awakening. That's why you suddenly feel heavy after reading certain messages, and peaceful when you choose silence instead. Archangel Michael says, the reason that person cannot text you or talk to you is because heaven is still healing your emotional frequency. Until your peace is stable, no chaos can contact you. Type, peace is my protection, to claim it. This silence is not rejection, it's recalibration. Heaven is fine-tuning your spiritual signal. You are learning to respond to peace, not panic, to presence, not pressure. And soon this same silence will speak volumes, because one day the same person who went quiet will realize the peace they lost when they lost you. They will scroll through your name, feel conviction in their chest, and hear heaven whisper, you mishandled a divine one, but by then, beloved, you'll be too busy walking in purpose to look back. Archangel Michael says, You are stepping into a destiny season where silence is your superpower. You don't need to explain your worth anymore. You don't need to chase validation. You simply stand, shine, and allow heaven to speak on your behalf. The people who left you in silence will soon see that God was speaking for you the whole time. Type, "Heaven speaks for me." If you receive that revelation, you're not waiting for a message from them. You're becoming the message from heaven. Every time you choose peace over panic, every time you choose faith over fear, you become the living proof of divine timing. Archangel Michael says, "This is your preparation for divine communication." The next conversation you'll have won't bring confusion. It will bring confirmation. The next person who enters your life won't ghost you. They'll ground you. The next bond won't drain you. It will develop you, because heaven is rewriting your story from silence to significance. You are not forgotten. You are fortified. The quiet that once broke you is now building you. The stillness that once scared you is now your strength. And the distance that once hurt you is now holy ground. Beloved, God says, be patient. The one who's meant for you will not need to be reminded to communicate. They'll be divinely compelled. When the right soul arrives, their words will feel like worship, not worry. Their energy will feel like home, not hesitation. Their presence will carry peace, not pretense. Until then, heaven says, stay still, stay pure, stay positioned. Type, "I choose stillness over struggle" in the comments if you're ready to let heaven take control. Because this is where miracles begin. In the moments you stop forcing and start flowing. In the spaces where silence becomes sacred, Archangel Michael says, do not break the silence heaven created for your protection. If you reach out before it's time, you'll reopen what God just healed. Trust that if communication is meant, it will return in divine timing. God never forgets what belongs to you. He only holds it until it's safe for you to receive. So keep walking in faith. Keep choosing peace. Keep trusting that heaven knows what it's doing. The silence has purpose. The pause has prophecy. The distance has destiny written all over. Type, "I trust God's timing completely" to anchor your faith in this truth, because what's being prepared behind the scenes is far more beautiful than what was silenced before your eyes. Soon, you'll say, "That silence saved me, that distance developed me, that pause prepared me." Archangel Michael says, the heavens are rejoicing because you finally stopped chasing what's not aligned. You've proven you're ready for divine conversations where words heal instead of hurt, and silence protects instead of punishes. Beloved, this is your confirmation. That person is not allowed to talk to you because your future is speaking louder. Heaven says, be still, stay pure, and prepare. The next message you receive will carry miracles. Archangel Michael says, heaven is now turning your silence into a testimony. The very season that felt like loss will soon become your loudest miracle. You didn't go through silence to stay broken. You went through silence to be awakened. Type, "I am awakening through silence." If you feel that truth stirring inside you, the angels have been standing guard around your heart. They've been blocking calls, delaying texts, and confusing algorithms, all to protect your peace. There are people who tried to reach you with old energy, but heaven hid your name from their sight, because they were about to say things that would reopen wounds God already healed. You asked for peace, and heaven took it seriously. Now, anyone who tries to disturb your peace gets spiritually disconnected. Beloved, that's not coincidence, it's divine defense. When heaven is for you, no word formed against you can reach your heart. Archangel Michael says, every unanswered message is evidence that you've been upgraded in the spirit. You have entered a realm where only those with divine intentions can find you. It's no longer about popularity. It's about purity. Type God, surround me with purity if you're ready to receive divine relationships. You see, there was a time when you chased closure. You wanted to explain, to be understood, to fix what broke. But heaven said, no more. Because every time you tried to fix them, you forgot to protect you. So now heaven is fixing what you can't. Silence is the surgery room of the Spirit. While you wait, heaven heals. While you rest, God restores. The silence you're enduring is not empty, it's sacred. Heaven fills it with revelation, strength, and new vision. Archangel Michael says, you are being prepared for divine communication. Your next conversation will not repeat the pain of your past. It will reveal the promise of your purpose. That's why heaven had to isolate you first, to detox your spirit from words that wounded you, so you can recognize words that water you. Type, I receive divine communication if you're ready for relationships built on truth and peace. God says, the one who could not text you now is being trained in humility and discernment. They are being refined by silence, because heaven is showing them what happens when divine connections are taken for granted. And soon, when the time is right, their heart will awaken, not because you reached out, but because God touched them in ways words never could. Archangel Michael says they will come back different. Not perfect, but purified. Not talkative, but truthful. Not rushing, but reverent. When that day comes, you won't need to ask, why did you leave? Because you'll already see that what left had to go, so what's real could grow. Type, I am ready for what's real in the comments if your soul is ready for divine alignment. Beloved, heaven is rewriting your connections. People you once begged to notice, you will soon be watching your elevation in awe. You won't have to prove your worth, heaven will showcase it. Those who dismissed you will remember you. Those who ghosted you will seek your light. But by then, your boundaries will be blessed and your spirit guarded by grace. Archangel Michael says, you are not hard to love, you are hard to deceive. That's why some people fell away. Your spirit recognized what their words tried to hide, and heaven honored that by removing what was false. Now only truth can reach you, only peace can stay near you, only love that honors God can dwell within your energy. Type, only truth can reach me now. If you are claiming this as your confirmation, the silence was never meant to break you. It was meant to break what was pretending to love you. Heaven is saying, I had to silence their voice so you could hear mine. You are now entering a chapter where you no longer chase closure. You attract clarity. You no longer beg for attention. You walk in divine attraction. You no longer fear silence. You find safety in it. Archangel Michael says, heaven is elevating your frequency. Every time you stay silent instead of reacting, you prove you trust divine justice more than human emotion. And because of that, new doors are opening. Doors of peace, partnership, purpose, and prosperity. Doors that will not require begging, only believing. Type, my silence is opening new doors if your heart feels heaven confirming this. Soon, someone will look at you and say, how did you change so much? And you will smile and whisper, I stopped explaining myself and started listening to God. Beloved, you are becoming untouchable in peace, unstoppable in purpose, and unshakable in faith. Archangel Michael says, this silence is your preparation for your public restoration. What heaven hid in private, God will soon reveal in glory. You are about to be recognized, not by those who rejected you, but by those assigned to honor you. Type, heaven is preparing my public restoration if your spirit knows this is your word. Because the moment you stopped chasing what ghosted you, heaven began chasing you with favor. You are not being ignored. You are being ignited. The silence is God whispering, "You're ready for more." And beloved, you truly are. Archangel Michael says, heaven is moving behind the quiet more powerfully than you realize. The silence that once made you question your worth is now confirming your divine value. You had to lose communication to gain confirmation. Type, "I am divinely confirmed" if you feel heaven touching your heart right now. God has been watching every tear, every moment of confusion, every time you almost reached out again. He knows how heavy it felt to be ignored, but he also knows that silence was your soul's protection. There were words forming against you that never reached your ears because heaven intervened. That text that never came wasn't rejection, it was redirection. Archangel Michael says, heaven blocked their message because it carried manipulation. You prayed for peace, and God answered by closing the line of confusion. They could not speak because their motives were not pure. So heaven said, enough. You've cried enough. You've over-explained enough. You've carried enough of what wasn't yours to fix. Now you are being rewarded for your restraint. Type, heaven is rewarding my restraint. If you know that message is yours, the silence you're sitting in is birthing your next miracle. You are being transformed in stillness, because sometimes the loudest healing happens when nothing seems to be happening at all. Heaven is mending your heart cell by cell, thought by thought, prayer by prayer. Archangel Michael says, when the silence feels unbearable, remember this. Even Jesus went silent before the resurrection. The tomb was quiet, but heaven was busy. It looked like the end, but it was the beginning of glory. The same is true for you. What looks like the end of communication is the beginning of transformation. Type, my resurrection is in motion if your faith still believes in divine comebacks. Beloved, God is using this silence to rebuild your discernment. You no longer fall for empty promises. You now wait for consistent action. You no longer crave attention. You crave alignment. That is how you know you've grown. The person who cannot reach you right now is still under divine correction. Heaven is showing them the weight of their words, the power of their silence, and the cost of mishandling a chosen one. You don't have to teach them a lesson. Heaven already enrolled them in one. And the exam is called, What Happens When You Ignore Divine Love. Archangel Michael says, they will soon come to realize the silence they created became their own teacher. They'll see you glowing, rising, unbothered, and favored, and they'll understand that what they lost was holy. But by then, you'll no longer be waiting. You'll be walking in destiny. Type, I'm walking in destiny now if you are claiming your next divine chapter. God says, I am aligning new voices that carry healing, not confusion. He is preparing people who will speak life into you, not drain it from you. He is sending divine companions, faith-filled friends, and partners who understand your purpose. And they will know how to communicate because they are guided by peace, not pride. Archangel Michael says, the next message that reaches you will not make you cry. It will make you confirm. It will not trigger anxiety. It will release clarity. It will not lead to heartbreak. It will lead to harmony. Because this time, heaven is writing the words. Type, heaven will write my next chapter to declare that your story belongs to God now. Beloved, your silence is echoing in heaven. Every time you resisted the urge to reach out, you proved your faith. Every time you chose peace instead of panic, you passed another spiritual test. And now heaven is saying, well done. Archangel Michael says, this next phase is called divine communication. You are about to hear from heaven more clearly than ever. Numbers will speak to you. Dreams will carry revelation. Songs will echo your prayers. You'll hear God's confirmation through small, gentle signs, because you are now attuned to his frequency. Type, I am tuned to heaven's frequency if you receive that anointing. The angels are surrounding you even now. They are rejoicing because you didn't chase what left. They are singing because you trusted divine timing instead of emotional timing. They are recording your obedience in the book of remembrance, because faith in silence is the highest level of trust. Archangel Michael says, when heaven sees that you no longer need closure, it rewards you with clarity. When you stop demanding explanation, heaven gives you elevation. When you stop chasing old connections, God connects you to divine direction. Beloved, this is not the season to question who left. It's the season to celebrate what's next. The same silence that once felt like loneliness is now birthing your leadership. You are rising in spiritual authority. Your anointing is expanding. Your influence is shifting. Type, my silence is birthing my leadership if your spirit feels heaven confirming it. Soon you will speak and others will feel peace. You will pray and miracles will move quickly. You will command doors to open and they will. Because silence taught you divine authority. Archangel Michael says, you were never ignored. You were insulated. You were never forgotten. You were fortified. You were never ghosted. You were guarded. Heaven hid you while it healed you. And now the unveiling is near. Get ready for divine reconnection, not with the same people, but with the right ones. Get ready for messages that align, not confuse. Get ready for calls that confirm, not drain. Type, I'm ready for divine reconnection to activate that blessing right now, because heaven is opening the next gate, a gate called divine communication restored. And what enters through it will carry peace, truth, and purpose. Archangel Michael says, you've passed the silence test. Now watch God speak loudly through your next season. Archangel Michael says, heaven is now rewarding every silent tear, every quiet prayer, every moment you wanted to speak but chose to trust instead. The silence that once felt like abandonment has now become a portal of divine power. God is saying, I heard you even when you said nothing. Type, God heard my silence if you know deep inside that heaven was listening all along. Beloved, there are blessings that can only be born in the stillness. You are standing in that sacred in-between, not forgotten but being formed. The same silence that made you question everything is about to reveal why nothing made sense before. Because now heaven is connecting the dots. Archangel Michael says, you are about to understand the silence. The unanswered calls, the delayed messages, the distance, all of it was divine choreography. God didn't forget to send people. He was preparing the right ones. The silence trained you to listen to heaven's voice above human noise. That's why you can now feel peace even when no one reaches out. Type, peace is my new language if your soul understands this shift. Heaven says, what you thought was rejection was redirection to your resurrection. You are walking out of a silent season and into a speaking season. Soon you'll hear words that carry healing instead of harm. You'll read messages that confirm what God already told your spirit. And you'll recognize that everything that went silent before was preparing you for this clarity now. Beloved, there is someone who still thinks about you. They check your energy from afar, but heaven has kept them quiet for a reason. Because until they can approach you with honesty and humility, they cannot re-enter your story. Archangel Michael says they are being humbled by their own silence. The same silence that once protected you is now transforming them. They are seeing what they lost. They are realizing the power of your presence. But God is saying, not yet, because your peace is still being perfected. Type "I choose peace over premature connection" if you are ready to wait for divine timing, not emotional timing.